Welcome, everyone, and I'm very glad that you could join us today. My name is Megan Pool, and I'm the Central Regional Coordinator of the Indiana State Library's Professional Development Office. I will be the host and question moderator for today's webinar, which is How to Build a Library in a Community Center One Bite at a Time. Our presenter is Director Nicki Kirchoff, who has served 20 years as a public school librarian serving grades K through 12, 15 of those years in the middle school. Nicki is currently serving as the director of the Rushville Public Library, and ever since Nicki became director at the Rushville Public Library, she had goals to be countywide. Nicki started talking and meeting about the community center July 1st, 2020. And what was a long and tedious endeavor paid off and has become a community hub countywide for Rush County. After this webinar has been transcribed, it will be available on the Indiana State Library's archived webinars page. If you are watching an archived recording of this presentation, information on how to obtain your LEU is in the video's description in YouTube. For weekly updates on upcoming trainings, and to learn more about what's happening in libraries across the state, please subscribe to the Indiana State Library's e-newsletter, The Wednesday Word, and check our continuing education website for other professional development opportunities. So let's get started. Thank you so much for being with us today, Nicki. I'll hand the presentation over to you.
All right, I'm just going to go ahead and start this video and go from there.
Welcome to the Love Community Center.
This story begins with the vision of our ancestors. It is a story written by donations, belief, and a struggle to have a new library in Rushville, Indiana. That same spirit led us for over 30 years to build the Love Community Center. Many people with a variety of ideas converged over time to make this dream happen. We started with an empty building, but that was it. We needed to raise the funds, sift through a myriad of ideas, and bring along the community, both physically and emotionally. In July 2020, a group of 50-ish community members met at the school's administrative office to discuss a $5 million statewide grant offered by the Lilly Endowment Foundation. Our community, led by the Rush County Community Foundation, was eager to write the grant and spearhead a campaign to build a community center. We won the grant, and that's when the dream of a community center could become our recent history. Putting together a plan of what the community wanted, architects put our dreams on paper. The price tag came in at approximately $21 million. And here's how we funded it. $5 million grant from the Lilly Endowment to the Rush County Community Foundation. $600,000 from the City of Rushville to purchase the property. $1.5 million from the Rush Memorial Hospital. $1 million from Rush County, $1 million from Diamond Pet Foods, $4 million grant from READY, Regional Economic Acceleration and Development Initiative, a program from the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, $500,000 grant from Gleaner's Food Bank to the Rush County Community Assistance Food Pantry, $3.1 million in Indiana redevelopment tax credits, $4.6 million in federal New Market tax credits. This program helps communities like ours attract private investors by offering them credits against their federal income tax. $2 million contributed by the Rushville Public Library through a bond. And donations and pledges from private and individual donors, including the estate of Dick and Sue Moster, the Herdrick family, the Buchanan Family Foundation, and Wilma Jo Kyle. 3 years later, in September of 2023, we were ready to break ground and begin construction. But here's the reality check. The library isn't countywide. In fact, the library has failed in its countywide efforts over the last 40 years. And the building we were vacating hadn't been renovated since the 1980s and didn't have any new construction since the 1950s. In fact, the main room of the former Rushville Public Library was built in 1930 and was designed to look like a medieval church, both inside and out. The architecture, details, and furnishings had made such a bold and powerful statement on former and current residents that the thought of moving to a new location caused a years-long stir, and still, even a year later, causes some people to say, "But I just really like the old building." We made a point of saying goodbye to the old building, making sure everyone's voices were given space to say goodbye in their own way. Our opening was March 2025. For the library, patron registrations exploded and our foot traffic increased. But what's it like going from the library being an isolated downtown entity to a mall/condo situation? It's all about mindset. Library staff and the board were constantly reminding themselves and our patrons that all of this was a learning process, and we would hold ourselves and our partners and our patrons lightly. Our approach was to do everything with intention, but also learn, and that was okay too. Learning to share the community room, learning to create different spaces for age groups in an open concept space, and learning how to accommodate even more groups of people throughout the day. This is something we're finally getting a better understanding of. It's vital that open, thoughtful communication with other partners in the building, the center's director, and the community at large is the only way to establish boundaries that work for everyone and instill a sense of ownership that we want to see with anyone that uses the Love Community Center. The key to our success will be collaboration. We're separated by our individual entities, but joined by a common purpose. The spirit of collaboration was highlighted by one of our first well-attended events. In November, we hosted the Fall Family Fun Night that included movies, games, activities, food, and all kinds of fun. Over 500 people attended this 3-hour event. My professional background is rooted in 20 years of being a public school librarian. And when I made the jump to public libraries, I was so sure that the collaborative part of my job would be gone. I was so wrong. Every day I truly look forward coming to work. And now, as we've gone through all of the hard work of planning, raising a bond, and moving a library, I realize that Rushville Public Library is sitting in a much better spot, both literally and figuratively, than we would be if we were still downtown. The library is now tied to a much bigger community project that involves both the city and county governments. And the library is considered an anchor store, quote unquote, here at the Love Community Center. We are no longer an isolated island. Our financial fortunes and misfortunes are tied here to both the county and city governments. We cannot fail here. Unlike our previous location and situation, where we could easily slip through the cracks in terms of local funding and low visibility, this is no longer the case, and we're grateful that the library can confidently move forward in what has been uncertain times for many libraries in our state and country.
Engage the entire community, get everyone involved, dream big.
So, Susie, thank you so much for sitting down and letting me interview you for this video. You've been here for a lot of the construction journey. So how far along in that process were you hired on?
I was here for the best part of the journey, for the final stage. But when I was hired in September of 2024, the building was still a construction zone.
Oh, yeah.
Deep construction zone. No walls inside were finished, lots of concrete, lots of dirt, lots of dust. We had to be really careful wearing hard hats and...
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was like a big no-no.
Yeah, and big boots.
Yes.
I was instructed for my interview not to wear any fancy clothes or fancy shoes because we had the interview here. But yeah, it was...
Yeah.
It's uncomparable from what it was at the beginning to what it is now. And you have to really go through the pictures to look and compare.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what memories stick out or lessons have you learned in the process of building those?
What lessons have I learned or memories stick out? The memories, there's so many, it's hard to pick, but it was, maybe it's not a lesson or not a memory, it's something in between, but it was amazing to learn about the project and what it is and what it's going to be. So learning the whole idea and the dream, and then coming here and seeing the dream being born to its final completion, and then feeling the energy, because this building does have energy, and I always said that, and it's true. So it's not a lesson, but it's just this amazing feeling that we were able to experience all together. And then maybe a memory was like going back and learning or meeting all the amazing directors of these organizations that came together and were part of this project. And now where we are all friends, it's great to look back and remember that, remember the first time I met you?
Yes. We were just talking about that, what is a typical day like here at the Love Center for you?
What is a typical day?
Yeah, there is none.
There is none.
No.
There is none, which it's amazing. I do enjoy the unpredictable. So every day is a new challenge. It's a new fun idea or fun project that we are working on. So there isn't a typical day for me.
No.
No.
So it goes sometimes from 8:30 in the morning to
8:30 in the evening.
Or even later.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm out all day in the meetings and connecting with the community. And sometimes I'm here and working on projects and ideas that we either collaborate on together or something that is just my idea that I'm trying to make real. So yeah, there isn't a standard day.
There is no standard day. So from a community engagement standpoint, what is it like working here within the Love Center?
I'll take you back to the my initiation to the community first.
Okay.
Because it was amazing. Since I'm not from here, we moved from Utah. I'm originally from Slovakia. So we were completely new to the community, and the expectations I had none. I didn't know how the community is gonna take a outsider and how they're gonna react to me and being the part of this project and bringing all these different ideas and just really engaging with anybody within the community. And I was very pleasantly surprised. It was amazing. This is such a nice community of people that are doing good things. They care for each other. And I don't think I was welcomed in a community this warmly anywhere else.
Oh, good.
So it was a really, really amazing feeling that really shifted my thinking and gave me ideas how I can connect with the people that live here. So when we are planning our community engagement activities, whether it's a family fun day or it's a cooking class or any activities in the recreation center, I know who I can go to and who I serve. So we are really trying to engage everybody and open this center to as many people as possible. And the most important thing is that the Love Community Center was built for the entire community. Whether you live in Rushville, Rush County, or beyond, this center is open for any person, for everyone. And this is what we need to drive home. I think there is still some questions out there whether people can visit us or not. So if I can send a message to everybody, that would be the message. It is a truly community center and that is open to everybody. And this is how we are engaging with the entire community. We are open to everybody. So if there is an idea or a project that we can collaborate on, we need to engage everybody and put everyone together.
I would like to speak on behalf of all of the public library directors and librarians out there, if you figure out what the secret sauce is to letting people know that your facility is open to the entire public, let us know, because we've been trying to get that message across for 50 years.
You just have to keep trying. We just have to
chipping
keep
away.
trying.
Yep. Tell us about all of the governing overlap that comes into this facility, because there's a lot of it.
There's a lot of it.
There's a lot of
It
it.
might be here for a while.
Yes.
Well, it's really not that difficult once you understand the structure. So let's start from the bottom. So we have a nonprofit organization, Rushville Community Development, with a board that is governing the day-to-day operations of the building. We also serve as a landlord to all of our tenants. And I am the representative of the board. I'm the executive director. So I have the pleasure to have the day-to-day interactions with our tenants and making sure that they are happy with our services here and everything is going as smooth as possible. And on the top of that, very interesting setup we have here. We actually have condominium unit here.
I know.
So we have 2 condominium units, and our Rushville Public Library is the owner of one of them. So we have that relationship as well, where I also represent the condominium association as their manager. And that's it. Do we have more?
I think that's it. What's been the biggest hurdle you've cleared thus far?
What was the biggest hurdle I cleared so far? It comes back to the community engagement. I really think so. It is a hurdle, it is a challenge, but it's also a win. Because at the beginning, I think there was a lot of, I don't know how to even call it. It wasn't negative energy. It wasn't negative thoughts. It was just a change. It was a change. There was that feeling of a change. This was established Walmart that left the community, and I think it hurt a lot of people. So there was a lot of hurt feelings, and then the building was empty for some time, and then the new projects comes in, and change is hard for people, change is hard for communities, and I think it hits even deeper for a smaller community. So we were dealing with all of that, and slowly but surely we are overcoming that change, and now people are realizing that they can come here and they can have a meeting, they can't just come and hang out, they can come and go to the library and use the services, the amazing services that you have here, and any other services that we offer here as the community center. So that would be the hurdle that we are slowly overcoming. We are not there yet, 100%, because everything takes time. But yeah.
So what's your biggest win then?
Biggest win? Really overcoming the skepticism that we were dealing during the project years, and then during really the first almost a year, we are going to celebrate our birthday anniversary next month, so we will be open for a year. But yes, overcoming the skepticism, we are operating as a welcoming place, and we don't turn down ideas. That's how I always operate. There isn't a bad idea. I am full of ideas. Sometimes they are out of the line.
You are.
But we try to engage the community members and let them know that we are here for them. So if there is something we can do, whether it can be done immediately or we need to work on it a little bit, let's bring it, because it's just another great thing we can offer to our small community, and that's what we need to be. We need to be offering resources and opportunities and brightening the futures.
Well, I'm going to do a little segue, and this isn't on here, because what you were talking about, good ideas and bringing in the community and working together. What are we doing today at 1 o'clock? It's the sensory room.
It's the sensory room.
Right. What was the original idea for that room?
Oh, it was Child Watch.
Yep.
I think it had a TV on the wall, perspex, and 2 tables and chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the
it.
goal.
That was it.
And what is our grand opening today? What are we doing instead?
Love to play Sensory Haven.
Yes.
But no, it's not love to play Sensory Haven. Love to play Haven. Sensory Room.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we call it.
That's what we're calling it. Yeah. But I was thinking about this morning that there's nothing, in most of the surrounding counties, there's nothing like this.
Well,
Shelbyville
and Greensburg.
Is it Greensburg or is it Batesville?
Batesville. Greensburg
Even
doesn't
further
have
away.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it will be in the tour, but to have something for kids 5 and under to explore and touch and play, especially indoors.
Yes.
We've had a very hard winter.
Very hard winter.
So this is going to be huge.
Yeah. That was my idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've gotten grants, we've gotten community
And I don't
feedback.
even know how it started. I know because you originally wrote that first grant, right? Or you were writing it. And
Yeah.
maybe I came to you.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
No, I didn't. You came to me. You came to me because I said, I don't want to do any grants until after I move in. And you were like, but I have this idea for a grant, and it's for the children, Nicki. The children.
Children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was your
I
idea.
don't remember how it all went, but
Yeah.
you were writing that grant, and we wrote that in, and that's how it started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's amazing. It's so amazing and so needed. Yeah.
And I think that's what the power of this place is.
Yes.
It just builds on an idea and makes it bigger and better.
Yeah, and it was us two from the beginning, and we were able to engage entire steering committee.
Oh, yeah.
Of 7 ladies.
Is it 7?
Maybe
Yeah.
6, 7.
Yeah, one just happened to be walking by your office, and you were like, hey, come here.
Hey, come here. Yeah.
You got some ideas.
This is what's amazing about small community. You just build those relationships.
Yeah.
And you can
They're there.
just, they're there. They're like, hey, you wanna be part of this cool thing?
And you're like, okay. All right, so what advice would you give to communities or libraries who are wanting to do something similar to the Love Center or something similar to the Love Center?
Dream big. If they are truly trying to accomplish something that is very similar to the community center, engage the entire community, get everyone involved, dream big as you can. Nothing is impossible. It's not. I live by that. If I can put the idea out there, usually it comes back in a way, shape and form that maybe wasn't exactly that, but any dream can come true, can become reality. And really, this sensory room is one of them. This community center is one of them. This was a dream of the community for the last 40 years. It took 40 years, but it's finally here.
It's here,
and it's working.
It is.
So dream big and never give up and go for it.
Well, that is a great segue because my last question for you is, what is next on the horizon in these big dreams?
Oh, there's so many. There's so many big ideas or small ideas. We've been talking a lot about collaboration and engaging different community members. So having organizations or different groups approaching us, it's amazing. I would love if we can streamline our services and really build a strong partnership with the Art Council, with the Heart of Rushville. There's just so many different organizations, Kiwanis, Rotary. I don't know who I'm missing, but, or I don't want to offend anybody if I don't say it out loud, but there is just so many opportunities here. But we need to remember that we need to work together as a team. So there's so many ideas and so many different projects that we are currently working on, or they are out there that we might not know 100% about, but I'm going to keep building.
I know. And for the viewer, I've been in these meetings with her, and somebody will just throw out an idea. She's like, I love it. Let's do it. And then everybody else in the meeting's like, Why? What are we waiting on?
But we know for a fact what one big thing, which is another big accomplishment that we got together. That's coming. The Smithsonian exhibit.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that came to us really innocent as an email. Hey, are you interested in applying for this grant to bring this amazing Voices and Votes traveling exhibit from Smithsonian Museum?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, let's do it.
Why not?
So we will be bringing this exhibit this July 4th, grand opening on July 8th.
Yep.
And it will be here for 6 weeks. And again, our community is able to have this experience they probably wouldn't have.
Nope.
So
no, they wouldn't.
That's exciting.
That is exciting. Yeah. All right.
And there's more.
I know. There's always more on the horizon.
Always more. Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you would like to add to our conversation?
Yes, I just want to say I'm really thankful to have this opportunity to be here with you today, or to be here in Rushville and Rush County or to be here at the community center as a director. Because it is an amazing experience, and I'm really looking forward what the future brings.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you're here. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nicki. That was a wonderful video, and we will open it up for questions. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to write it in the chat, and I will do my best to moderate. Alyssa Birch asked, what percentage of the building is the library?
Roughly 22.3%, I believe.
Really? Because it's such a fixture, and I would think a lot larger than that because it's so big.
But the rest of the building is so, I know. It's funny because I used to shop at this former Walmart, and when people would say, so what part is the library? I would say, it's the checkout area, it's the pharmacy, and it's where the bicycles used to be. And interestingly enough, a lot of the toy section.
Tony from Crawfordsville asked, let me get back to it. Tony asked, does each tenant, including the library, have access to locking up and being open at different times? That's a good question.
That is a good question. And originally the library was going to have its own outside entrance. And I think that was like in the first iteration of architectural drawings. And you have to remember too, that during that whole time when they had the drawings and then they're starting to work on supplies and things, that's when the whole construction industry was like shrinking and supplies were really hard to come by and everything got really expensive. So that vision shifted. And so everybody has technically the only official entrance is the front doors. But we do have a pocket park next door that has 2 outside doors. So in theory, if we wanted to stay open or be open outside of the Love Center hours, we could. We would just block the door that goes out into the lobby and say you have to go in and out of the park. And I think the rec center is looking at an outside entrance as well, because they like to be 24 hours eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, and Kathy said that this is amazing. It's forward thinking, and she loves the younger than 60 generation that's involved.
Yeah.
Which, yeah.
It's wonderful. I would say the majority of our new library card holders, I'd say 80% of them are city residents. So these are people that just never use the library in the old space. And it's shocking to me because
Mhm.
you're already paying for a card through your property taxes. But I'm just so pleased that the people who live here and support it already actually use it. Yeah.
And that was gonna be kind of my question is, have you seen an increase of patrons, if that's people coming in for library cards or just foot traffic?
Um, it's funny because I've been working on the annual report and our foot traffic, we had to do a foot traffic report for 1 week for a report Zuzi needed to do. So I've got it right here. We had that week 787 people here. And when I extrapolated that for like 52 weeks or whatever, and I put that number in the annual report, it flagged it to say, these numbers aren't even close to last year's numbers. So what's going on there? I think that's a typo.
I
And I had to explain why. It's because we moved. So foot traffic is off the hook. And the other nice thing, and I didn't put it in the video, is we're an evergreen library. So we have people that will come and get a gym membership that are from Connorsville or Brookville or somewhere surrounding, and their library cards work here as well. So it's just another layer to that cake of collaborating. Yeah.
That's wonderful, and like I said, I think that's a good thing that
Mhm.
I mean, yes, the annual report flagged it, but that's a really good thing that
Yeah, I know. Isn't that
that
great?
yeah, that's crazy. Alyssa Birch said that she agrees this is a fantastic collaboration, and I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I I don't know if there are other libraries that could do this, but this is just a really forward-thinking thought.
Mhm.
And I commend you and your county in
Yeah.
wanting to do this.
I and it's funny because when you were talking about the collaboration thing, um, just being able to collaborate with governments, it's always you for me, I always just try and kind of stay under the radar because I'm always afraid that, if the library is out there too much, somebody's going to say, well, why are we funding it?
Mm,
But this has been such a good way of being forward in the public's eye, and they're seeing us working with the city, they're working with the county, um, and by extension, those entities are viewing the library in such a positive way. Yeah.
yes. And I will say, I do feel those patrons who loved your old your old library. It's so cool inside.
Yes,
Um,
it's great. I just want
but
everybody to know, as I was moving, I broke my foot coming
no.
out of the back stairs, and I'm like, I'm done with this building. It's dead to me. I never want to see it again. So I don't feel that bad about leaving anymore. It's all gone. Yeah,
But I was gonna say, like, it seems like the community has bounced back to the idea of like,
they
"Oh,
have.
this is
Yes,
really nice."
yes,
And
they do. It only took I would say less than a month of people being able to walk in because we had 4 staircases at the old place and they were never
mm,
stacked. So you could never do an elevator. You'd have to do 4 elevators.
oh my gosh.
We have people coming into the library that I didn't even know were members of our community just because they
Mm,
couldn't access the building. It was
oh
horrible.
my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I will say there is another question. Alyssa asked, "Did you sell your old building?"
We did. The city asked if they could have right of first refusal, and
Okay.
we sold it to them. Um, and so all of the questions that we received, what are you going to do with the old building? What are you going to do with the old building? Now it's the city's problem, and they can answer those questions. And I can say, I don't know. It's up to the city. Complain to them.
That's nice to have.
It really is. And it was funny because the mayor said, if you sell it to us, I'm just saying, we'll be able to field those questions for you. Okay. Sold.
And this kind of ties in. Susan Knight wanted to know do you receive countywide tax support now? Or what is
No.
that? Yeah.
No. And that was something that I had to address. I had to make sure all of the staff knew the official answer when we would have people say, hey, you're building that new love center and the county is paying for some of it. Does that mean I get a free county card now?
Oh,
And I
okay.
had to say, unfortunately, no. The county taxes went to Unit 2, which is everything but the library.
Mm,
Their taxes or the money they gave did not support Unit 1, which is the library. So unfortunately, the county doesn't support the library still. So no.
okay. So even though the Love Community Center serves countywide, everyone's
Yep.
welcome to come in, the library itself is still not countywide.
No, that's
Got
not. Yeah.
Got it. And I would say that's a little hard. I mean, I know that's one of your goals, or that
Yeah.
was one of your goals, but
Mm.
do you think you've still gained a lot more than what you ever thought with this idea?
Oh, yeah. I mean, even from the most basic perspective, it's such a big, beautiful, all access space now. And the fact that we have so many things up here
Hmm.
that support all kinds of stuff in the community, whether it's in the county or in the city, I think that only makes the library look better. And so I don't know what the future is going to look like, but I know moving up here will be an even better enticement if we ever got to do that push again to make us countywide. We can say, but look what you're going to get.
Yes.
Much better argument. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And my next question to that would be, what are your future goals and or ideas that you have, near or far?
Well, it's funny being in this space. I've kind of had to change my mindset a little bit because we are in a space where everybody needs to be succeeding, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. So yes, we're Unit 1. We take care of ourselves, but we also need to have a very vested interest in how Unit 2 is doing. How's the rec center doing? Are they getting the members they need? And how can the library help them get more members? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Because it's so easy to say, oh, well, if you're a rec center member, you get a library card and you can listen to books on this and you can do this and you can do this. So we can tie it to the library. But that idea of we're all in the same boat together has been a little bit of a mind shift to me because otherwise it's like, I'm the library, it's the library. I got to take care of the library. And the library is, of course, my first priority. But I also need to have space for the Love Center as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Thank you for explaining that. Yeah. And I just wanted to butt in real quick. I've provided both mine and Nikki's emails. So in case you have any questions, feel free to ask them. And also I've provided the archive training page and a link to the YouTube video of this tour that was presented to you all. I know that it may have been a little just a little choppy, but hopefully this link, if you if you still want to watch it or share it with anyone, please feel free to use it. If there's any more questions, we still have plenty of time. And if there's anything else you want to add, Nicki, I mean, this was just wonderful. I'm just so proud of you for doing this, for all of you doing this. This is just amazing.
Gosh, anything to add?
Is there anything you would have done differently?
What would I have done differently? The one thing I wish we would have done differently is to have a bigger voice on the steering committee, because the library had to kind of take a back seat to that. And it's not that we missed out on anything, but it was just sometimes it took a while to get information to us, because there was like a layer that we had to get through in order to know what are people talking about on the steering committee, what's being decided. And so for me to be able to relay that to the library board, it was like, I need to let them know. The library board wants to know X, Y, and Z. So then I'd have to ask somebody that's on the steering committee, and then they would have to bring it up in a meeting, maybe, or, an email. And it would have been nice to just cut out the middleman and just say, I'm at the meeting, what's going on? Yeah.
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 I would have to say, I'm not trying to be biased, but even the people that built the Love Center out said that the library was probably the best designed space in the building. And I really think that that's because everybody else was kind of like coming in last minute, or it was kind of hodgepodge. And our staff was like, well, we have ideas, and it should be this and it should be that, and there should be a door there. And the architects were wonderful to work with. And this is just such a really well-designed space, especially compared to where we came from. But yeah, that would be the one thing I would do again. Yeah, is to have lots of people at the table saying, what do we want this to look like? So.
Right. And Susan Knight said, how does your condo unit differ from other units then? And who is responsible for building maintenance?
Building maintenance, the way that the condo agreement is written, is the library, Unit 1, is responsible for drywall to drywall, top of ceiling to the floor. So anything behind the drywall, that is the building per se. Anything outside of that is the library's purview. And I would say the only difference between Unit 1 and Unit 2 is that everybody else in Unit 2 is really like a tenant of Unit 2 who owns it. And so there are a couple of, and I can't remember what there are. There's like a couple of fees that Zuzi charges those other tenants that I'm like, oh, no, we're Unit 1. So, oh, I know what it was. One of the things that she had on there was insurance for the inside of the building for the tenants. And I said, we already have our own because we own Unit 1 inside insurance. And she's like, oh yeah, you're right. And so she took off, that fee because it didn't apply to us. Yeah.
And Alyssa Birch said that this is amazing that you could raise the funds, because that is a lot of money.
It was. And if you listen to the timeline, we get that initial $5 million in 2020, I think it was, like the end of 2020. And then it took 3 years until we were breaking ground. It took a while to raise the money for that.
Yeah, I will say, when I first visited you, you were in the middle of this. And it is amazing to me just to see the timeline to see just exactly what you and town and county were going through to make this happen.
Yeah, those new market tax credits, and that was the hang up. That took forever. And I mean like a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah, that, oof, that was the thing. And the lawyer person that was in charge of that, man, you could just see him towards the end. He's just sweating bullets because that was the only way he was going to get paid. So
Right.
he really had a big dog in that fight.
And I agree with George because he said hopefully that money was earning interest somewhere that the
I
library
know.
was able to tap into.
No,
Oh,
it didn't. I know. That would have been nice, right?
yes.
Yeah, the interest of that bond.
Right. We can still take just a couple more questions. If there is any more, feel free to write them in the chat.
You know, I have another thing I would like to talk about too. I don't know if I had never heard of this until Zuzi looked into it. And it's the CSEP program. It's through the Workforce Development for the state of Indiana. It's a 4-year grant, and it's for senior citizens that earn a specific amount of money that they can apply for a job in organizations, and the grant pays for their, their salary or, their wage. I'm able to hire some part-time people that I couldn't. One of the problems that we had moving here was our staffing stayed the same, but our foot traffic increased, our circulation increased. So they were really running ragged, and it's nice to be able to augment them with this free workforce. And that was one of those collaborative things that I would have known nothing about had it not been for Zuzi, the Love Center, and things like that.
That's wonderful.
And I guess they use public libraries a lot. So if you're looking, for some.
Yeah, that's a good,
Yeah.
that's some good information there. And Janelle, real quick, said, how did the conversation start in your community?
I think it was 40 years ago, when our school had a swim team. They were talking about, wouldn't it be nice if we had an indoor pool? Because our swimmers would get on a bus and go to Knightstown, where the old soldiers and sailors home was, and used that pool. That never materialized. And so he's on the steering committee. His parents left a sizable donation to the community foundation, and it was with the hopes that, maybe someday we'll get this indoor pool. And then it just became bigger than an indoor pool, because it was, well, what if we had this? What if there was a gym attached to it? What if there was a fitness center? What if there's a library attached to it? Interesting story. When I interviewed, one of the interview questions was, so if the library went to the old Walmart building, how would you feel about that? Great. I love it. Sounds great.
Yeah. We'll take it.
Yeah. I know nothing about this, but I love it because you seem very interested in it. So I'm going to say yes.
So if there are directors, if there are public libraries out there that's in a community that doesn't have a indoor pool, scenario, what would you advise someone like on how someone can start this conversation?
And it's not the indoor pool. That the conversation needs to be, what is the thing that your community has always wanted and just can't seem to get? Start there, because you already have that desire inside of you as a community that you would love to have this one thing. For us, it was an indoor pool.
Right.
Maybe it's, I don't know what it would be for your indoor.
Maybe it's transportation, or maybe it's
Yeah.
health,
Yeah.
maybe it's seniors or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's either that or what is a need that everybody knows that we have to, the majority of people know we have to have. Like for the library, we needed it to be handicap accessible, and we weren't.
Mm-hmm.
That was a need. And for the majority of people, because it's always the people that complain, that's typically a minority. But the majority of people were like, yeah, you're right. This is not right. We got to fix this. It's 2020. It's 2020. We should be able to have people use wheelchairs and come into the library. What are we doing here? Yeah. So
Yeah.
it'd be one of those two things. What do your heart desire, and what do you actually need? Yeah.
Exactly. Well, Nicki, I thank you so much for coming on here and just sharing your experience with us and creating this wonderful video. And thank you to your husband for helping you create this video.
Can you tell he got a drone?
Yeah,
Everything was a drone shot.
Yes. No, thank you so much. This is so great. You just have something special now that you can share,
Yes.
even as a presentation or with anyone. And just thank you for sharing your time with us. Just as a reminder to everyone, if you have any more questions, please feel free to email Nicki or I. Our emails are in the chat. And as a reminder, if you are watching an archived recording of this presentation, information on how to obtain your LEU is in the video's description in YouTube. And I will hopefully send out LEUs out to everyone who attended in person today, or hopefully sometime in the next few days. But with further said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And again, thank you, Nicki, and take care. This will stop the recording.